All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Kelsey. I'm an engagement executive here at USADA. Here we have Sanchin and his team to talk about opportunities in India, expanding modern and traditional retail. If you have any questions throughout the duration of their presentations, please write them in the chat, and then we will address them at the end of their presentations. And just keep in mind this will be recorded, so please keep your mic off. And if you don't want to be on the recording, just turn off your camera. And I believe that's all I've got. So I'll pass it over to you guys.
Thanks, Kelsey. Good morning and good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar. This is the third in a series of four that we're doing to talk about India and discuss the kind of opportunities India offers. A lot of you were part of the initial two webinars as well, so we're glad to see some of you come back again. Today, we're going to talk more about the dynamic transformation we've witnessed in India, especially on the brick and mortar retail landscape side, and focusing on both modern and traditional retail. Uh, I'm lucky that we have two really wonderful speakers with us today, and Nikhil and Saurabh, thank you both of you for joining in. I know it's really, really late in India right now, so appreciate you staying up and being there for all of us. Everyone, our first speaker, Nikhil Asrani from Suresh Kumar and Company. He leads one of the biggest import businesses in India and has immense experience working with US brands and taking them to India. Over the years, I personally have learned a lot from both Nikhil as well as his younger brother Asim, who's in the US right now. And I'm glad Nikhil could join us today. His company represents over 30 global food brands and maintains a nationwide distribution network, especially through their key offices in Delhi, Bombay, and Bangalore, which are the three major distribution hubs in India. Our second speaker, Saurabh Rana, is an assistant vice president at Reliance Retail, and he's an expert in the fresh sector. Reliance Retail is India's largest retail chain with over 18,000 stores nationwide. Saurabh, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure you're going to talk about some of these numbers in your presentation as well. But Reliance Retail operates across multiple formats in India, including supermarkets, hypermarkets, and specialty stores. They also have an e-commerce platform and recently announced their foray into quick commerce as well. But I'm actually really glad that we have both Nikhil and Saurabh sharing their experience here with us today. And I'll hand over to Nikhil now to take us through his presentation and talk to us more about what they do and where they see opportunities for India, especially for US businesses.
Thank you, Sachin. Thank you, Saurabh. And hello, everybody. Thank you, Kelsey, for having us here. Good morning, everybody. My name is Nikhil Asrani. I represent Suresh Kumar and Company, which is a fourth generation family business. We have, as Sachin said, we have been working with the US suppliers for more than 25 years now. We work with big brands like Unilever, Best Foods, Sunsweet Prunes, some of the other cooperators, and then we work with some regional smaller suppliers for our private label. Um, it has been a destination of choice for the food products, which holds in a very high hierarchy of the Indian consumer's mindset. So, Sachin, will you share the presentation or you want me to? Because
Up to you. If you want me to
yeah,
share that, I'm happy to.
you can share the presentation. I'll just take
Okay,
it through.
sure, sure.
I'll try to go not to bore you all because this is the information probably you are already aware of. Some of them would be new. Some of them would probably be controversial, but let's see how it goes. Sachin, please, up to you. Yeah. So why India? I mean, of course, you know the answer, and that's why we all are here. India is a market you cannot ignore. We are already the fifth largest economy, we're going to be the third largest, and we are already third largest in terms of purchase power parity. And everybody, including most of the people who live in India, think the business lies in the famous cities of Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, and Chennai. But it's not like that. We have 27 cities with more than 1 million people living in them, and it's really, really growing fast. The aspiration level of the people in the smaller towns, because they have more resources available, they have more exposure, they're traveling, their kids are studying abroad, and the ease of living in those smaller cities is immense. So we have seen a robust change in the demand coming from these cities. The government of India is developing 93 cities to be specialized cities. So we would see a lot of investments coming in. We see a lot of foreign factories being set up. So all in all, we are growing. We are growing as a country. We are growing as a market, and we are 1.4 billion consumers. and you cannot ignore them. So, a retail sector, which I'm sure Saurabh would speak better than me, but it still contributes 10% of India's GDP, strongly controlled by the mom and pop stores. It generates 8% of the total of country's employment, which is a huge number. Unorganized retail is still about almost more than 80%. Organized still about maybe a short, small double figure, and e-commerce is growing as well. Yeah, sort of. Such a next slide, please. So, unlike the rest of the countries in the world, most of the countries, we were a restricted economy till 1997. So, the history of imported gourmet foods in India is less than 25 years old. In consumers' mindset, as I said, US is right on the top in terms of high quality products, along with the UK, followed by Western Europe, Canada, uh, and then followed by Asian countries, Middle East, and bottom of the pyramid, the big dragon, where for the food business. Every imported food, which may be mainstream for you, is considered gourmet in India for simple reason: it's imported, it's expensive because of high freight, high import duty, high taxes. So it gets expensive, expensive becomes gourmet. So even if it's a mainstream pasta which sells for a few cents in Italy as part of the gourmet section in India, category saw exponential growth between 2000 and 2015, where India was the favorite market for every category, every brand, and we have seen only of 20% of the modern trade. Now, when I say modern trade, is what you relate to retail, the supermarkets carry imported food products. Rest others focus on staples and local groceries. Sales are also defined by regional preferences. So, for example, a canned meat, even though the Northeast is 15% of our total business, east of India, some of the categories contribute 40%, including the Korean noodles. Jam sells more in the south, pasta and olive oil sells more in the north. So it's very, very regional. Uh, if I talk about the gourmet, so just one slide back, please. If I talk about the gourmet product distribution, even though modern trade is too small in terms of the total market, but in terms of the gourmet section, contributes more than 30% of the total business, where general trade, I would say, is about 50%, and rest is taken by the e-commerce. Yes, please. And what's driving the growth? Health and wellness trend. Everybody, we are as aware of ketosis and other sorts of diets as anybody else in the world. So the health benefits, and of course, modern trade helps us. The retail, which I would again say, helps us speak to the consumers, promote our products, and so does the e-commerce. Because I don't know if you have seen the images, let alone the actual mom and pop stores in India. You cannot communicate with your consumers. The shopkeeper sells whatever the consumer wants, whatever the customer comes asking. You cannot promote your brand there. It's very difficult. Outlook and challenges. Regulatory is, I would say, is an overplayed word. It's manageable, but tariff, yes. Most of the food products on imports are 33% import duty unless you have a free trade agreement with the exporting country. And so it's that's the major challenge because it gets so expensive. And honestly, a $25,000 container from US, uh, it cost me 20% on the freight. So Asia becomes very lucrative for imports, where most of the countries in Asia we have a free trade agreement. So if I talk specifically about the US, challenge would be high freight and high tariff. So let's hope we have a free trade agreement on imports of food with US soon. Yes, Sachin. So what consumers want, and that should be the first question in any B school. What consumers want in our line of business, consumers want iconic brands. So whatever sells well. Look at Prime Drinks. Reliance just launched Prime Drink, and it was a euphoria. The Beast chocolates, the Ragu pasta sauce, and I wouldn't be surprised if I see more iconic brands coming to India. Healthy alternates. I mean, we are getting extremely health conscious. We are, uh, I mean, I wouldn't say obese nation, but yes, we have high cardiac problems, diabetes, and we were looking for healthy alternates. and trend setting, as I said, prime. So whatever is trending in the US comes to India. What doesn't work? Short shelf life. If it's a 6 month shelf life coming by sea, it would not work in India. If it's a low quality product, even though if it's cheap, it doesn't work. And value chain. Okay, if you expect a retailer to work on 7% margin on imported grocery and for an importer to work on 3%, the brand will never take off. So there is a set value chain we work on not just we, any importer in India works on. The set margins a retailer works on, and we got to stick to it. Yeah. So route to market, again, there are multiple, but retailers don't import themselves. So going to a retailer, more often than not, they are diverted to us through the retailers themselves. So retailers do not work import directly for multiple reasons. They do not have enough volumes. I'm talking strictly about the gourmet category. For something which gets as big as fresh fruits and vegetables, of course, things are different. But if I talk strictly about the gourmet category, they do not import themselves. So less than 2% of the population is a target consumer. Where if I had a nickel for every time I heard that we only need 1% of Indian consumers, I would probably buy my first Ferrari. But what I'm trying to say is that our target audience is 25 million consumers. How much of those can we get to our product is the question. So you're not targeting a market of 1.4 billion consumers. You're targeting a country which has 1.4 billion population, but your target population is 25 million. And let's focus to get that share of the market. It's also to do with the taste preferences. It is not just about the affordability. We have such strong cuisine that openness to a foreign cuisine is very difficult, at least in older generations. With the newer generations, with the youngsters, it's changing. Uh, what I always suggest, find a good partner, go in the market, start working with them pan India, and invest in the market in terms of your time, in terms of your focus, in terms of marketing. And if things go well, then if you really want to be big in a country like ours, go on a joint venture route. But once you have established a business model, once you establish the demand, go on a joint venture production within the country. Yeah. Value chain, just to give you the long and short of it, whatever you sell us for $1 C&F, we retail for $3.3. Somebody might show you 3.5, somebody might tell you $3, that's okay. But somebody tells you two or somebody tells you five, it's not correct. Keep in mind, whatever you sell for $1 retails for 3.3 in India, give and take. So you have to, you know yourself, what price would it be on the shelf in India? Yeah. All the organized retail, quick commerce is a new word. It's a new category which has just exploded in India. They deliver to you in 10 minutes or less, and the delivery charges, if not free, are 20 US cents per order. So it's a miracle what they have created, and they're growing. It's not a hype, it's not a fluke. They're growing, and they're growing how? Yeah. So if I could dare to do the SWOT analysis of India in terms of the gourmet food category, huge consumer base, young population. I mean, a median age of 27, we're quite young, growing very fast, very politically stable. Weaknesses, I would say, we're very deep rooted in our eating habits, and vast majority of population still lives under $4 a day. Opportunities, only 2% population consumes imported food. So that number can only go up, cannot come down. And we're growing, we're getting richer. Threats, high import duty. So for how long can we safeguard ourselves against the domestic production? And we are an export oriented country, so the government doesn't want us to import, period. That's why we have it's retaliatory, it's non-tariff. We have tariff barriers, and then we have non-tariff barriers. So that's, I would say. About us, we are a fourth generation family business, more than 100 years into operations in this gourmet category, about 25 years. We have a distribution company in Dubai and Singapore as well. Company with offices and warehouses in Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, more than 200 distributors now, and we're in every single modern trade. Yep. So I said we have a sales team in 25 cities. We have a network all India. Our objective is wherever there's a potential to sell imported food, we should be there. From the US, we work with Ragu pasta sauce for the last 21 years. We do Skippy peanut butter. We do Morino tofu. We do Sunsweet prunes, and then we do a lot of private label from the US. Yep. So US foods and Indian modern trade, consumer demand. So it's the same thing which I explained. It same goes with the US food category, middle class, expansion, fuel demands. So it's the middle class, which is Indian middle class is 350 million consumers, which is more than the population of Europe, and that's growing rapidly, and that's bringing in results, and our volumes are going up year on year since last 20 years. There's not been even a single year we have not grown with the US products in India in last 20 years. Yep. Prospects for growth, modern trade is growing. They're growing very rapidly. E-commerce is growing. FDI, foreign direct investments, they are making it easier for companies to come set up shop in India and grow. And innovation is happening. It's a continuous process. Sorry, I'm sorry, but so again, opportunity growing health and wellness segment, as I explained, iconic brands, trends. One thing which doesn't work is organic, because organic has a lot of complication in terms of clearance. But other things, whatever the trend we see in the US are the trends we see in India. Challenges again, high tariffs and competition with the local brands, and of course high freight cost. Yeah. So honestly, I wouldn't term anything as a challenge to Indian market except for one single product. Two main reasons: the right product and the right partner. We have seen in last 25 years a lot of good brands, a lot of good categories came. They couldn't find a good partner. They didn't survive and they never came back. And vice versa. Good people got something which are not the market is not ready for. So find a good product, and if you're lucky, you'll find a good partner. So e-commerce and digital disruption. I said e-commerce, even though it contributes 12% of our business today, we foresee this going to 20% in the next 2 years. And that's something which we cannot ignore, but it's extremely important for us because that's the closest way we are uh, interacting with our consumers. I'll give an example. Amazon in India doesn't sell anything by itself. It's against the law. So they have come out with a very unique model in India, which is called Sellaflex. So we, as a supplier to Amazon, operate Amazon software in our warehouse. So all our orders are fulfilled by Amazon. All our orders are guaranteed and assured by Amazon, and we operate like Amazon. That's a very, very special privilege they've given to select few in a market like India. And we do so many things. I mean, if we are shipping out a few thousand cases orders a day, imagine what I can do with that database of consumers. Imagine sampling. Imagine whatever we can do. Just imagine how big that would be. uh, Rise of consumer expectations. It's as simple as that. India is not the dumping ground as some people thought it would be. Yes, we are a price conscious market. But at the same time, our consumers expect nothing but the best. If their cousins across the pond in Europe and US are shopping in an environment, are shopping certain categories, they want the same in India as well. So yeah, that's it's the dynamics are changing quite rapidly though. Yes, Sachin. Thank you. So yeah, that's all from me. And Sachin, if we just stop sharing the slide and we can all go back or continue with this. So Kelsey, we take questions. I take questions now or after Saurabh does his presentation as well.
I think we can wait until after the next presentation. Or what do you guys think?
Sure.
Yeah,
Nikhil, if
sure.
you're okay with that, we can take questions after Saurabh's done.
Sure, absolutely fine.
Thank you. So, Nikhil, thank you so much for that. It was extremely insightful, and I got to learn a lot. I'm sure all of our listeners did as well. And Saurabh, if we could come over to you now to share your experience and your insights. I know Nikhil shared some really good notes, and I'm sure you have your own points as well. So I'll hand it over to you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Sachin, for having me over. Thanks, Nikhil, for setting the tone. I see you're wearing a pullover or which part of the world are you? Delhi isn't that cold, and no part in India.
It's changing season, Saurabh. So I was just a bit under the weather.
No worries. I've just put up my. Uh, Let me see which one. Uh, One sec. I'm trying to put up my.
We can see your presentation, Saurabh.
Great. So we'll start, and I think Nikhil has already set the tone. I'll quickly take you things that are common, and then we'll come to the crux. So great, India retail. I'll give you a supermarket, modern retail perspective to this, to the business. So India is a growing economy. We are close to $4 trillion. The retail is close to $1 trillion US, and is expected to be close to $2 trillion in the next 10 years. So, what's really driving retail overview, a snapshot? First and foremost, first thing that comes clearly through Nikhil's presentation as well is that your demographic divide is very much in India's favor, with a mean average age of 29 years. Income levels, given a young population and given the rise in GDP at close to 7%, we see high disposable income in the hands of Indians. Young population, high disposable income. Today we stand at 2,700 US dollars. In the next 10 years to 15 years, we expect to be close to 10,000 US dollars. Typically, Indian with high disposable income, young age group, you see rise in urbanization. And what urbanization does is it gets people, it favors the modern retail, because high disposable income, young people, they tend to shop more in modern retails, primarily because retailers give you the option, they give you the choice that consumers want. As people's incomes increase, they want better choices, they want more convenience, they look at look at premium products, which is where modern retail comes in, which is where supermarkets in India are growing, and retail as such. What's really added to the retail boom is the seamless experience to the customer. So the Indian customers today have a plethora of choice. They can go to a push cart to buy their fruits and vegetables. They can go to a mom and pop store to buy their groceries. They can go to a supermarket. They have an option in quick commerce. They have an option in e-commerce where you order today, get delivery tomorrow. A typical quick commerce would be in India would be 15 minutes to 1 hour delivery. So the Indian consumers have a lot of choice, given the high disposable income, given that the quick commerce and the e-commerce are becoming highly efficient. We see all this is adding up to the boom in the retail sector. Just a little overview also on quick commerce and e-commerce is that we see that vis-a-vis last year, we have grown by almost 37% on the e-commerce front. Our online shoppers are, as on today, are close to 150 million. We see in the next 5 to 10 years to reach close to 500 million. And what we see a gross merchandise value on quick commerce to be close to 350 to 400 billion in the next 10 years. So all this is all adding up to the retail business in India. And big push is coming from what we see in social media per se, whether it's Instagram, whether it's YouTube videos. So I'll just take you an example. We launched this category 2 years back that is on avocados, and I'm talking about fresh produce here. And through YouTube promotions of making recipes, getting in famous chefs, and getting it into local languages, vernacular languages, what we see a big explosion of this category. So likewise for other categories as well. We see that social media, Instagram, different tools, Facebook, all play a important role. So yeah, so like I said, today we are close to 2,700 per capita income, moving towards 10,000. So for guys in US, they may be thinking that this is not a big number. Actually, it'll all come together when closer to the last slide, where we very clearly show that India is not a very expensive country. If you move out of the tier 1 cities that also Nikhil spoke about, it's a very affordable place to live. The cost of living is low, and hence lower incomes compared to the West are good enough. India hasn't been hit by inflation so far. And today our middle class, which is close to 30%, which is what is fueling the Indian economy today. So that middle class over the next 10 to 15 years will become 60%. And that's what we see. Around we feel around 60, 170 million people are going to get added to the Indian middle class. And that is what is fueling the Indian economy today and will continue to be the driver going ahead. We spoke about this. We see that as the median age is pretty young, India is a young country. We also see is that customer tastes are evolving post-COVID. We saw that. We almost forgotten COVID by now, but we see India as a pre-COVID and post-COVID. As retailers, we always measure that. And we see that post-COVID, the tastes and preferences of Indian customers are changing. Customers are becoming more experimental with food. They're willing to give new products a try. A while back, we spoke about Korean noodles, right? That's becoming more and more popular in India. So people are willing to try with better disposable income, with the influx of social media. It's becoming more and more popular. And we see that not only in tier 1 cities, we see that in tier 2, tier 3 cities as well, which is where, which we call the Indian heartland. So all of this is auguring very well towards premiumization. And what we see is premiumization is happening in not only basic articles, but also in the premium articles. So basic articles, for example, in banana, we see premiumization happening when we introduce a MRL tested banana. People are willing to pay a little more premium, and it's forming 15 to 18% of our banana category today. We see potatoes. From regular potatoes, we have started offering sugar-free potatoes, and customers are willing to again pay a premium, and that's also a significant portion of our category. So all in all, what we see, premiumization is happening. We see a rise in premium products in India. Nikhil spoke about 2% of the population in the produce segment. I'm blessed that we have at least 400 million customer base that we can today address to. It's a larger section because it's a basic article. It's food, fruit and vegetables are closer to Indian consumers. They love. India is a fruit and vegetable consuming country. So yes, so what we see is that imported fruits in the premium line of business has started picking up in big way. Pre-COVID, 4-5 years back, 20,000 containers used to get imported into India. Today it is close to 32, 33,000 containers. So with higher disposable incomes, people want to express themselves. They want to go buy better quality fruit, and they don't mind paying a little bit of premium to do that. Yes, modern retail is also catching up because people, you get a wider variety of options. People, there's much more comfortable shopping environment, and there are many more convenient paying options. UPI being one of them, which is very, very convenient. It has actually really changed the landscape in Indian context. It's really helped at the grassroots level, entire 3 cities, for people to shop online or to shop at the modern retail stores. What we also see is increased brand consciousness of within the Indian consumers. I'll just put up a laser pointer so that's easy. Yeah. People are becoming more and more aware due to social media influx. India is consuming a large amount of data. As far as online shopping goes, it's only second or third to China, India, and to US and China. So people are becoming very, very brand aware. At the same time, they are very, very conscious and really supporting the local and regional brand. Go vocal for local is the flavor as well. So they're both going in hand. Not only the national brands, people are very supportive towards the regional and local brands. What consumers are looking for is what's behind the cover. They're looking for a deeper story inside, and they're willing to support that. Uh, very, very customers are reading the label more and more carefully now. They're very conscious of food safety, environment, sustainability. Keen interest is being shown. For example, when we sell grapes, and then we sell grapes with MRL tested, with the sticker, with the QR code, with the story behind saying these are residue tested, we see a significant jump in our sales. So there is a customer who's carefully reading the labels, who wants to know more behind the what's behind the brand. He wants to know the story. He wants to know the farmer's story. And as we are engaging our customers with that line of business, we see good traction happening. Slow but good. The other thing that we see very clearly, which stands out, is consumers are placing great interest and they're showing a lot of trust in online shopping, and that's really good for our supermarkets like us. With ease of 100, I mean, no questions asked, return policy, with quick refunds. I think with low delivery charges that Nikhil spoke about, all of this is fueling not only supermarket business but e-commerce in general. And today, what we see is imported food is becoming mainstream. It's no longer niche, which Nikhil spoke about was gourmet. But in the fruit side of the business, the fruit and vegetable side of the business, it's no longer considered niche. It's becoming a part of the mainstream business. A little bit about our company. We are India's largest retailers. We've been there. We started our stores in 2006, and it's been over 17 years. So Reliance Retail is a part of the bigger Reliance Group, which is a $109 billion firm. Retail is close to $37 billion out of that. In retail, there are multiple formats. There are multiple formats: the grocery, fashion and luxury, electronics, all put together. We have over 18,000 stores. Grocery will have a little over 3,300 stores today. We have strong global presence. We partner with many brands. We bought 7-Eleven in. We bought out Hamleys. We work with with various international partners to bring them in, and we also run the mall business. Yeah, our primary segments, like I said, was grocery, fashion, lifestyle, and electronics. We do B2C, we do e-commerce, we're into quick commerce. We also do B2B wholesaling and a little bit of exports. Okay, so as from a retailer, from a very 30,000 feet, what do we see? We see that India is changing, but there's a market for everyone. I mean, if you see, this is how a common man would travel, but we also have We also have room for people who like to rent a car or who like to drive a Mercedes. So there is no one India. India is, if you want to really understand India, there are many Indias in one. So India is changing, and there is a market for everyone. It's just not the luxury segment. There is the middle class, upper middle class. There's a super class. Then there's also a lower class, and depends on where you want to play. So this is an traditional Indian retailer mom and pop store, which is across the counter, where you would typically come and you would place an order, and the shopkeeper will give it to you. This is how what on your right is a supermarket. It's a self-service format. You have the convenience of air conditioning vis-a-vis traditional retail. You have a convenience of range of products. You can spend as much time as you want on the floor, no questions asked. So the idea is not supermarket over the traditional retail. There is space for everyone to grow. India is a huge country. It's right now on its best. Next 20 years are yet to come, and there's room for everyone to grow. Yeah, in the produce space, we also have people who shop in traditional retailers like this, and these are supermarkets like Reliance has. You have that option, and there is so much headroom that we need to work with our partners to develop our categories, to do branding at our retail stores, to do sampling. So if anybody is interested in coming into India and has a range of products or has a single line of product, we typically, the way we do it is we give them top shelf displays. We do a lot of branding, we do a lot of sampling, and that's all that is possible in a supermarket like ours. And that's why we probably score a little over traditional retail. But hey, we're not here to take traditional retail space. There's so much room for everyone to play in, and the customer base is huge. So modern retail has its advantages. And yeah, so we can. So overall overview of Reliance. So what I've done is just giving you a very quick snapshot of different formats that Reliance works with. So essentially, Reliance has three lines of businesses: the value line, the premium line, and online business. So the premium line accounts for close to 12 to 15%, which also includes online. The value line would be the rest. So there are different. The different customers come to different formats. So we are blessed as per our customer profile, as per our customer segmentation. We have different formats. So like say a Smart Bazaar is a large format store, and it's prevalent in Tier 1, Tier 2 cities. Likewise, Fresh Pick, which is a premium store, it's a gourmet store. And this just as we had just had one, now we have close to three. Milk Basket is a subscription-based online. It's an online business which we acquired a couple of years back. It's very high on delivery. The way it works is you keep ordering. It's like a preloaded. It's like a preloaded card where you order online. You keep adding to the cart, and you don't need to check out. And next day, 12 o'clock at night, there's a cutoff. Next day, you get a delivery by 7. So it's a subscription based, very high on delivery and service. Signature stores, which are doing so well, are for the upper middle class, for people who want import into India. This is the go-to place where we display our products, and we do a lot of branding marketing there. Yeah, so just to give you an idea now on fresh produce in India, for those of you who are in that line of trade. So India is the second largest fresh produce country in the world, only next to China. We produce 300 million metric tons of fruits and vegetables. We are the largest producers of mangoes, bananas, and papayas in the world. We interestingly are also the fifth largest producers of apples in the world. And we export less than 2 billion. So export, while like Nikhil says, that it is the focus of the government, but in fresh produce, it's not really taken on. And primarily it is because India is bulk growers. They're not very high in productivity. We really don't have very high integration with the best of varieties and the genomes, plant genomes that are being developed in the world. But that is also changing now, and I'll come to that a little later. So while India imports, so that's on the export side. While India imports close to 30,000 metric tons, 30,000 containers on an average for the past 2-3 years, which is just 600,000 metric tons. So it is actually, if you look at it, it is less than 1% of our own domestic production is what we import. But when you further deep dive into categories, we'll see a lot more action is happening there. Out of the 30,000 containers that we import, apples is 65%, citrus 15, kiwi 10%, and others mixed fruits you can say is 10%. So apple being the biggest import category, what we see here is apple. We import apple up to 19% of our production. Now that's really huge, and we see this is where it gets really interesting, is because Indian apple production is more or less stagnant over past 5 to 6 years. But our Indian imports on apples has been increasing. And there it comes again with higher disposable incomes, with urbanization happening, people wanting to experiment with food. We have started importing more and more apples, and even at a higher price point. And which I'll come to you in the next few slides, you'll see the difference between an Indian fruit and imported fruit is 3-4x, and in some places 5x. And people are willing to pay that premium for a better quality fruit. Citrus, we import. The next big category is citrus. We just import very small amounts of citrus. Items like kiwi, we import almost 100% of our produce that we sell in India. So key major trends that we see is that new categories, the other 10% is where a lot of interesting action is happening. New categories like blueberry and avocado are getting developed. And I'll just quickly take you through avocados first. What we see in Indian avocado, so when Tanzania opened up 3 years back, this is here, we see a big influx. Up till here, we used to get a few New Zealand avocados. Now, when Tanzania opened up, there's a big inflow into India. What we see is that the Indian customers, and I think it's not just the product being much more affordable. Through New Zealand, the product used to come via air. Tanzania, it's coming via sea, 0% duty. All that really helped. But what we really saw is the way avocado category got developed into India. There was so much effort, which I spoke about, was put into social media, into sampling, into, there's a 360 approach into making the product visible and listening to the customers. And what the major effort came about was to work with the Indian chefs to indigenize recipes to Indian tastes, and that is what started going, getting us results at our store. So Indians don't really like guacamole. They're not the only product that you can make out of avocado. We try to make it into Indian mainstream cuisine, and through those recipes, through those continuous advertisements that we have been doing in stores, that's what has really got us good results. So what we don't show you here on the right side, this is this current year sales that we've seen, and these are the number of pieces, and this is the dollar price per piece, what we see here. So consistent pricing all across, the 70 cents to a piece, and we've been able to almost double our sales. What this doesn't show is the last year we were half of this. This year we've actually doubled our last year's sales. So which is fantastic. In 2 years, being able to sell 2 million pieces for a new category to develop is just phenomenal. We haven't seen. So what am I trying to say? Indian customers are very open now. They're willing to experiment. They're willing to try something that we spoke about earlier. They're willing to, social media. They're going to the social media, trying to find out what else can we do with avocados. Biggest consumers are gym goers. Like Nikhil spoke about. People are aware of keto diet. The biggest consumers are the gym goers. People are using avocados in Indian bread to make parathas out of it. So that's one of the success stories that we see. Now look at blueberries. This is the number of metric tons we sold in blueberries, 2023 versus 24, and these are the dollar pricing that you see at the bottom here. right? So what we see is that despite the increase in our price of blueberries, we see our consumption going up continuously over a period of time. So it beats logic. Retailers, what we typically learn is when price goes up, our volumes go down, but no longer so. If you have the right product, if you have the right varieties, which taste well, Indian consumers are willing to give it a try. It will not be a runaway success like an apple or a kiwi. Definitely, there is a market for it, and like we have different formats. We are blessed that we can sell it in different formats. We know our customers well, and that's what Reliance brings in. So if you bring us a product, if we will test market it the first year. We'll see how it works. Then we position it basis our partners' interest, basis our feedback from the ground that we get, and then that's how we introduce and develop that category. So we are very, very open for anybody bringing in fresh produce, willing to work on club varieties, willing to work on the premium varieties. We're very, very open to developing that. Yeah, so I'll just go back to my earlier slide. So new categories, blueberries and avocados, what we spoke. What we see another major trend that is coming is major capital infusion into domestic growing. People, especially foreign partners, are investing into new root stocks into growing into India. Growing has started making money in India, and we see that in apples, we see that in blueberries, we see that in avocados, we see that in dragon fruit. More and more new varieties, better yielding varieties, better tasting varieties, better varieties with shelf life are being introduced in India. Some of it to address the domestic market, some of it with the intention to export it from India to Middle East. What we also see a lot of foreign partnership into local production. Like I said, it's in blueberries, avocados, and all these products. So yeah, so the India is the place to go. This gives you a snapshot of how a premium category is being doing. It's been growing continuously over the past 4 years. I mean, just leave 2021 aside. It was when we started a new. This is a new line of business. We just started post-COVID. We started introducing a premium line of business. We got continuous feedback. In fact, our imports department really took a big leap in 2022-23, wherein we started importing close to 150 to 200 containers. So from 60 containers around COVID time, in 2023-24, we ended up importing close to 350 containers. And that's the kind of growth that we have seen. The overall business is close to a 600 container business today. And this year, we've already, in the first 7 months, reached last year's numbers and will most likely to double last year's numbers as well. So the growth story is there. The proof of concept is there. It's now for us more about getting the right partner, like getting the right product, and it's a plug and play model that is working today. Yeah, so I'm probably coming to an end of my presentation. So just to give you a synopsis of, like I spoke, Indian disposable income is increasing. 2,700 USD to 10,000 is a growth story that's going to be in the next 10, 15 years. What does it really mean? So if you look at this slide, shows you our average produce sale in India is 60 cents to a kilo, just 60 cents to a kilo, right? US dollar to when I talk about. So India is not very expensive, really. Our vegetables are 45 cents, our fruits are 60 cents. Now, this is where we go. When it comes to imported fruits, because of the high tariffs, we see it's to a little over $2.50, close to $3. And a premium segment, which we introduced, which I showed you a while back, is close to $3.50, $4. So typically, high tariffs have led to high prices. However, if you're able to offer quality, if you're able to offer consistency, there is a customer for it. Even though the fruit it's 4x to the Indian fruit pricing, people are willing to buy and pay for quality produce. What we see is that volume-wise, in our stores, it's close to 4 to 5% of the overall produce sales, but value-wise, it's 16%, and EBITDA-wise, it contributes close to 26 to 30%. So it's a very, very important category for us. A small but a very important category. Small in terms because of India's there's so much of local production going on here. So, but otherwise, it's a reasonably sized business. It's a mid-sized business, and it's up for the taking. Anybody who's interested into India, wants to enter into India, we are always open to listening to our partners and seeing if there's a possibility there. So. Yeah, so companies that are entering into Indian market, what do they need to do? They need to first study the Indian market, because India is not one country. There are many mini Indias in one, and you need to study the market well before you look at entering. You need to research the Indian consumers well. You need to find their needs, what are the needs, and you need to solve for it before you decide to come into India. Don't come with the notion that India is going to be the next China. No, India is not the next China. It will probably not be. India is a democracy. It works in its own ways. You understand that better when you start working in India. From the outside, we get all carried away by $4 trillion, going to be the third largest economy in the next 10 years. That's the fact. There is no taking to that. But India is a different beast. You need to be in India to understand and be a part of the growth story. But for that, study the market well, research your consumers well, understand your distribution channels, trades. I think the more time you spend on research, the better it is. I think Nikhil touched upon it, is to find the right product and the right partner. That's so true. Position yourself well, because you can't be there for everyone. I showed you different channels. You've got you're selling right from point for half a dollar to a kilo to $4 a kilo. So you have the entire customer range. You need to choose where you want to play, which segment you want to be in, and be invested. You think long term. It's not an easy market. There are very, very strong regional preferences. There are very strong drivers. Something that works in north does not work in south of India. It's like Europe, you can say. There are multiple Europes in India, so multiple US in India. The regional trades are very, very strong. They play a very important role. At the same time, Indian consumers are very global, but at the same time, they're very, very conservative. They're very tech savvy, but at the same time, they like to do offline shopping as well. So it's a complex country, and it's a young country, and it's a country which is going to give you immense dividends if you're able to be invested here for long term. Yeah, so that is all from me. Thank you so much, guys. Any questions? More than happy to address.
Thanks so much, Saurav. I think, again, a lot of stuff for us to learn. Kelsey,
Yeah, thank you all so much. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, please feel free. We have 6 minutes left, so definitely use it if you have a question. Feel free to write it in the chat, or we would love to hear your voice. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Let's see.
Nikhil, while we wait for questions, I have a question for you. You work across multiple categories and all regions, and Saurav was talking about how different regions work differently. You also touched upon that. But is there any product category that surprised you in the last 2 years, something that's done very, very well, or not done as well as you would have hoped? Any lessons for all of us to share?
Again, as I said, we have become extremely global. It's just a matter of time. Like Saurabh explained about avocados, they are global phenomena. Korean food, K food, anything which comes with the K, it's global everywhere. I mean, I'm surprised how the young girls watch the K drama without understanding a word of it, and how much spicy noodles can a country consume. We have become an extremely important market for Korean noodles, and that's my biggest revelation, my biggest surprise in the last 2 years. But said that, I am surprised by just the growth of the market, the resilience of the market, the way even the modern trade is redeveloping itself. I mean, Kelsey, McDonald's deliver in India free of cost. So we learn to adapt, and that's the key. So even our old brands, even the old categories are growing.
Thanks for that, Nikhil. I think that's a wonderful explanation.
So no questions usually mean we were very good or people are not listening to us.
Sometimes they just have to digest the information, then the questions show up. But we do have one from Samuel. One presentation mentioned that families are increasingly dual income. Is there a growing number of women in the workforce contributing to a larger consumer base?
Yes, I think that was in my presentation. I'll take it up. If Saurabh is much younger to both me and Sachin, so he probably wouldn't know. But if we go back 30 years, women were not working. I mean, they were set, except for the government jobs in private sector, there were hardly any women working. And today, the workforce is reaching almost 40-50%. I mean, I work with Reliance as a supplier, and the category I deal with, there are more women than men. So yes, they are double incomes. They are and they're paid. I mean, there's no disparity for that matter. So yes, women are working. They're contributing to the economy. They're contributing to the family income as well.
Another question, what are the opportunities for canned tomatoes and sauces like pizza sauce and food service?
So I would consider myself an expert of pizza sauce because we have been selling ragu pizza sauce in India for the last 25 years. Branded pizza sauce purely goes into retail. The reason because all said and done, we're still not a very expensive market to operate in terms of the labor cost. So all the restaurants, including five stars, make their own pizza sauce. The canned tomatoes is an extremely fast growing market. Uh, and if it's not Indian, the canned tomatoes, it's Italian in India at least. So because of the price, the quality, uh, even if it's San Marzano shape, they are acceptable. The Chinese, they do have tomatoes. They couldn't come into our market. It's still the Italian. So if the US has tomatoes which can be accepted in our market in terms of taste profile, and again, this is purely food service in big cans.
All right, now the questions are rolling in. So we have two. The first one is, what is the normal payment term for import from the United States?
Eric, we prefer 2 years. No, just kidding. It is usually mutually decided.
Yeah, for supermarkets like ours, it's generally 14 days to 21 days after arrival. Yeah, but that mine is a fresh category. That doesn't hold true for across the categories. Yeah.
So, but to talk about the US suppliers, we work with quite a few of them, and they have their own credit reporting system. So we enjoy between 30 to 60 days. But honestly, if you ship from the US in a sea container, by the time we get the container, even if you agree to work on a 60 days terms, those days are over by the time the stocks arrive. But each to his own, it can be discussed. There's no preset rule to that.
Just to clarify, so I was talking about 21 days after arrival, 100% of the payment. So as retailers, we don't give advances or we don't do LC or any of those. So it's just pure CIF pricing. 21 days after arrival is a pretty standard thing.
Right.
LC is an outdated document. No, I mean at least it's an additional cost. We don't use it.
And so the last question was just, is it possible to get the presentation slides? So Nikhil and Saurabh, if you wanted to send me the PDF of the presentations that you gave today, I'll just put it in the follow-up email so that
Sachin,
everyone
if you
can
do that
have a
for
check
us.
at those. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll do
whoever
that.
can.
I'll share it with everyone.
It's chargeable basis, Sachin and Kelsey. Yeah, so by the slide, Nikhil, huh?
Anything for Vazata and Sachin.
Very kind of you, Nikhil. Saurabh, we pay in hugs and smiles.
That will do. That will do.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. We do have I think it's December. When's your next webinar? I should know that. It's
December 4th.
December
December 4th.
4th. Yeah, and that's their last one. I'll send a link to that as well in the follow-up email, as well as the registration for the dry fruit and nut inbound mission to Oregon and California. So with that, yeah, thank you all so much, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelsey. Thanks, Sachin. Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night. Thanks, Nikhil and Saurabh.